Hello and welcome to another episode of Pacifist %, which would confuse anyone who didn't make it to the end scene of the previous episode. We return now to find Franklin, who now being worth tens of millions of dollars after the successful big score heist, has learned that his adventures were never really about the money. They were about spreading the message that you are never responsible for another person's death as long as you didn't personally kill them. This is true regardless of how involved you may or may not have been in the individual finding themselves in a place where they happen to die.
Like it says in the book.
No person better understands this message than Les the Crest, who has offered Franklin many thousands of dollars to coincidentally be around 4 people as they happen to meet their end.
Okay, you know Redwood cigarettes? There are 4 corrupt jurors on Redwood's books. The court case is tomorrow morning. You'll be helping a lot of people with this, Franklin, including anyone who might have a sizable investment in, say, debonair cigarettes.
All right, man, I'll see you later. And I love you.
Wait, what?
You might think it makes little sense for Franklin and Lester to be doing this, considering they just stole tens of millions of dollars and should be keeping their heads down. But there is one thing you haven't considered. It is possible to have more than tens of millions of dollars. When you think about it that way, they have no choice but to do this. You're right, the time limit is going to make this kind of interesting, and I don't even have a vehicle. That was probably a mistake. My first choice, of course, was to call the police, for who better to have around when you want others to accidentally die under uncertain circumstances. I very much so doubt they're going to be of any help, because the person is not going to shoot back at me. I am often complimented for my willingness to never give up, which is why I have yet to give up being wrong about things. I arrived to find that the first juror appeared to be a bodybuilder, a person who has dedicated their life to obsessively achieving an impractical goal that very few people care about. Imagine being that stupid.
If you've got a pen, I can sign your tits.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Hey, get out of here, bro! This is muscleheads only.
Help, police. He's punching me, police. Okay, I didn't think this would actually work. He's still keen to get me. He has natural armor. We're screwed.
Get down and lay down.
Thanks, man. You're a true pillar of the community. The next juror was an overweight man on a yacht, which didn't make me hopeful for a similar resolution, as this guy didn't have the guns to scare the police like the previous juror did. So I need a boat. I'll just swim. Excuse me, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, grief for Jesus?
Why don't you fuck off?
Oh, he just jumped out into the water. Oh, maybe I can get the cops to get him then? As long as he's willing to physically assault me, it should be fine. Not only was he rudely unwilling to physically assault me, but he also seemed to want to spend as little time in the same state as me as possible. This man ran at supersonic speeds, not at all being slowed down by the thickness he carried around with him. Maybe I should have stolen a car to catch up with him. Or a scooter. Scooter's good. Oh my god, I forgot how slow this is. This is barely an improvement. Sir, please stop. Ow. Presumably, during flight or fight training, this guy fell asleep during the second half, because regardless of what I did, he would not fight, so the cops wouldn't take an interest in him. The only other thing that I could do, potentially, is pull the same thing as the first assassination. Get him to a train. Yes, but the time limits. But the time limits. Fortunately, after my mission failed, I would be respawned back where the previous juror died with more time, so it wasn't as big a concern as I feared. I still obviously couldn't do things that took an insane amount of time though. This is about the furthest you can be away from a train. The odds of him being hit lethally by traffic, like I have never seen it. Sharks are really far out in the ocean, man. He won't even attempt to pull me off my vehicle. He's not in any way, shape or form hostile. I also considered directing him towards hostile enemies using a vehicle, but the time limit was just too restrictive, so I lazily decided to melee him, which of course is required if it can't be done passively. Not gonna make it, guys. 18 seconds. Got it, guys. Once I ran out of time, I simply respawned with more, but obviously I didn't test everything I could have, so for the sake of this video, I looked into it further.
What is that idiot doing?
The most obvious thing I didn't test was crossfire from the police. Maybe they could hit him while targeting me. Surprisingly, the juror didn't immediately abandon his boat when I used mods to spawn the police that circled above and rammed into his yacht. The second I got even moderately close, however, he would flee for his life. Which is quite silly because let's face facts, the one thing I don't want to do is kill him. While having myself be super fast and invulnerable, I did manage to see him get clipped and go down. The question was, how on earth will I get this done without having mods? The big problem was the lack of helicopters with the 2 stars available to me from calling the cops, and that police in cars refused to shoot at me while they were still in their vehicle. They would get out and shoot at me if I wasn't moving, but my lack of movement would mean the juror would quickly outpace me, and so no crossfire would have any chance of hitting him. This was solved if the police were stuck on foot after they accidentally drove their vehicle into the ocean, but my no longer being invulnerable did make crossfire still quite difficult. But nothing I just explained to you ended up mattering even slightly. On the next attempt, I fired at the yacht to try and spook the juror off quicker, but rather than jumping off, he just got scared and attempted to drive the boat away from me, not giving up even when I was standing right next to him. It turns out that even the fastest man alive can be caught if he isn't running. We return now to my original attempt as I approached the third juror, who was a window cleaner permanently on a lift in the middle of a building. My original solution here was a bit contentious. It's debatable whether this is pacifist or not, because you don't need to shoot him, but you are kind of killing him.
Pack your things. You're fired.
This didn't really feel very pacifist to me, as my gunshot did kill him just indirectly. As I didn't have any ideas to complete this passively due to him being so high in the air, I wanted to see if I could still melee him. There's definitely no other way to get him because he's too high up. What if I can get a helicopter, get there and melee him, and parachute down? If I fail this parachute, I'm gonna be really pissed. Don't really want to hit the wall. Please tell me it lets me keep my helicopter. Please. No. To speed things up, I decided to jump from the crane that was conveniently across the street. What?
What the hell was that?
Now, how do I get down? So I could leave it there with that unsatisfying conclusion, but what if there was another option? What if I found the name of the final mission?
What the hell was that? Shit, someone call the cops! I'ma sit and duck up here!
Very poor choice of words.
I decided to do some testing for this video, and using mods, I quickly found that, just as before, the police could kill the window washer while trying to shoot me. Trying to do this without mods was difficult because again, helicopters wouldn't spawn at 2 stars, and the police on the ground couldn't get a sufficient angle. This was despite finding that I could merge into the window cleaner. The solution was to fly to the airport briefly for 3 stars, and then come back.
Lester better appreciate this shit.
Having now corrected for my initial laziness, we return now to the original footage and the 4th and final juror. Fairly certain he won't get off the bike, you have to hit him off. He's actually very hard to hit off. I hope this guy is hostile.
You gotta watch out, fool.
He's not hostile. No. Why is he so fast? He's one of these NPCs. He'll just run forever. Well, you think he's only running away because I got out with a gun? Well, I'll try it without my gun. What? He knocked himself off. I've never seen that before.
Come on, asshole! Put the gun down!
I don't have a gun. Given how little time I had left and that he wasn't hostile, I figured that I had no choice but to melee him. Has to be done. You're pathetic. The mission won't end because I'm in water and thus can't get the phone call. It is a running theme for this episode, but clearly I didn't test everything possible on the day, so let us take another crack at it for this video. To start with, trying to disable his bike before he became active just resulted in him driving off. In the resulting chaos of giving myself 5 stars with mods, he did get knocked off and killed, so it seemed like something I could work with until I tried with 2 stars, which is what I would normally have to work with without mods. Despite following him around for eons, I never saw the same result, so I moved back to what worked for me so far: crossfire with the police. Sadly, I had the same issue as with previous jurors. This man just wouldn't sit still, so the police wouldn't have time to get out and shoot, although they would occasionally run him over.
I was completely uninjured.
As before, the best solution was when the police coincidentally wrecked their cars and thus were forced to be on foot. I did eventually get to see him clipped by a shot, but he just got back up like nothing happened. But finally, my patience did pay off. If only that were true, Franklin, for our time in this mission would end right now if not for that pesky timer. Unfortunately, I was doing all my testing after killing the first 3 jurors, which left me with heaps of time for the final one. However, to do all the other 3 jurors passively, one after the other, it takes anywhere between 6 and 8 minutes. You might think this wouldn't leave me with enough time for the 4th juror, but thankfully the game always leaves you with enough time to finish the rest of the mission when you respawn. In this case, the game leaves you with 2 minutes and 11 seconds for the final one. Obviously this would be fine for normal playthrough, but for this Pacifist challenge it's not exactly great. By the time I even drive from the previous juror to the final one, I have barely over a minute left, which wouldn't necessarily be enough for my previous strategy. I was basically back to hoping that he would quickly hit something and fall off his bike, but this guy is damn good at driving. I did eventually see him run into a car, but of course this was a guy who once took a bullet and lived, so he just walked it off. I basically needed him to be hit multiple times or be run over after he fell, so I decided to give up some of my precious time on each attempt to call the police and hang around until I could shoot near them to get a wanted level. Police cars swerve as I get closer, making them more difficult obstacles. I also shot my gun occasionally to spook everyone, but even with this, things didn't look hopeful. So I suspect that you expect that everything just worked out, which is true, but just not how I anticipated. So what happened? Well, these policemen swerved, and due to the juror and I slowing down to turn, we were in range just long enough to give the police time to get out of their car and fire exactly 1 bullet that missed me and hit the juror, which, along with the fall, killed him. You could say that it was quite unlikely. Whether due to Franklin's recent proclamation of love or his legendary skill at always knowing where to be to watch someone else die, Lester was very keen to get him back on the phone.
Ever heard of Skinner? I'm reliably informed that he has a weakness for working girls.
Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
There's a regular he likes to pick up in La Puerta. You stake her out and she should lead you to Skinner.
This should not be hard, because he does shoot at me. So I should just have to get there, call the cops, and bada bing.
Damn, that must be my girl.
Of course I called the police to inform them that the most heinous crime conceivable was about to occur, that being premarital sex. I can't believe Rockstar managed to get away with putting something so sinful in their game. I moved in closer so that I might see all the evidence necessary for any future police report.
I was starting to think you weren't coming.
Oh, I always come.
Aw, you're such a smooth talker. Oh my god, no, stop!
Get away from me, you maniac!
Oh wait, he's not... Oh, he only fights me if he's in the car? Oh.
You know, I don't even feel bad about it.
Thank you? I'm gonna go now. And with that, I have been nothing more than a witness to a small part of the crusade to have all the sinners justly gunned down in the street.
Like it says in the book.
So who the fuck don't you like today?
Guy's called Isaac Penny, ruthless vulture capitalist.
Lester wants us to witness Karl Marx's dream of the humble, hard-working, downtrodden multi-millionaire rising up against the billionaire. It all starts with Franklin posing as a bus driver to catch the capitalist when he arrives at his daily bus stop. This is more than likely going to end up being a melee. I had the choice of activating the yellow dot, which would see him ride away on a bike, or to just spook him, which would have him run away on foot. I felt that his being on foot would make him more likely to suffer an accident crossing the street.
I just want to talk, Penny. You're out of your mind.
At least he's slower than me this time. Oh, yes. Friendly fire is a thing. Are you kidding me? Don't run down the stairs. Shoots me, and by me I mean him. I really don't like that guy. Hooray! Woo! I mean, it's a damn shame that kind man in his suit happened to die through circumstances entirely not related to me in any way, shape, or form. All that was left to complete the mission was a quick trip to LS Customs so that I could lose the cops who were unjustly following me as I had done nothing wrong. No! I know of this bug! Why did I do this? I actually know that if you go in here to lose the cops, it fails you. Oh, no. No! While it was annoying that I forgot that using LS Customs specifically on this mission causes a mission fail for some reason, it didn't take me long to see repeat performance. Yes. Is he die? He died. Okay, good, good. Hooray! Run away! Run away! I just thought in my stupid brain, I'm gonna go spray paint my car. No. Yet we are still not done, as Lester has managed to think of a final excuse to call and talk to Franklin on the phone.
It's me, dog. Where we at?
Enzo Benelli. Extortion, murder, labor racketeering, you name it.
So normally you'd have to fight your way up to the roof on this mission, but I happen to know the trick that you can taxi up there. Of course, I have no idea how the taxi driver manages to do this, but I wanted to see if I could steal the helicopter that the target uses to flee before it takes off.
Shit!
Nice. I have all the prep time in the world. To spawn them, I have to move down ever so slightly. The problem is, they take off really quickly, and they shoot really quickly. It's like out to here, and then...
Oh shit, there he is! Stay on Enzo!
If I couldn't easily steal his helicopter, I figured I'd bring my own and just let him take off. After all, there is some precedent for people flying themselves into buildings. Howdy, friendos. Oh, I'm getting shot. So is he actually following me, or am I following him? What the fuck? Did I kill that guy? Did I just kill that guy? No, they seem fine. What are the odds of just another random helicopter? Let's watch this very carefully. The problem is they do damage my helicopter quite severely. I did discover that they would hover around me, although they wouldn't land if I did. Being this low though, and not having mission failed.
Hello, this is 911.
Are they leaving? This is what happens. Eventually, they decide to fly away. It's possible that I can get them close enough to the ground, fast enough, and then call the cops, and the cops take them out. So I set my plan into action, landing and then calling the cops. Why would you do that? I hate you. Oh. It's a very weird confrontation, but they are confrontating. I wish they would get out of the car. I wish they would stop shooting at me. Damn it! I decided I needed more information before making another attempt, so rather than calling the cops again, I flew around the area in order to time how long it took for them to stop following me and fly away. I'm surprised they haven't tried to fly away yet. This is a long time. I agree. What the fuck are you doing? What the hell? Hello? What?
Made me work for that, homie.
I don't understand. Honestly, I can only speculate why this happened, but I'd assume because I flew in low circles around buildings, they must have run into enough to do some damage, leading to their helicopter failing. Either that, or constantly shooting down at me had them shoot themselves somehow. But regardless why, this does surprisingly leave all 4 assassination missions done without a single additional kill added to the total. I do, however, have a confession to make. Given how irrelevant and convoluted it ended up being, I cut out trying to get the target to stay on the roof whilst having the police kill him up there. No, it is not possible is the short answer, but trust me, the process of learning that is not interesting and would bore you to tears. As an apology, here are some of the golden moments among the sea of boredom that was that section. So maybe these guys will be like, hey, wait a second, there's something on the roof, and they'll just stop here and go get them. It's not fair. How does this not get me 3 stars? You don't care about this, guys? They're not concerned. While taxiing to the top of the building, sometimes you can actually end up taxiing inside of it instead. There is nothing interesting in here and you can't get out without dying, but it is somewhat like the back rooms of this mission. I was trying so hard not to do that, so I still need to find somewhere to hide up here. Are you? No, dude, don't do that.
Oh shit, there he is! Stay out of the zone!
I got him trapped! Shoot that son of a bitch! Will somebody kill that? Yeah, work for that, home.
I mean, technically I didn't kill them. Sparta! Huh. It turned out that going up in the elevator would prevent you from getting a wanted level somewhat, meaning if that I went back down to the police that I had recently called on the bottom floor, they'd be very confused. Oh yeah, there's a cop. The cops are still there. They are really buggy cops.
I'll kill you, you piece of garbage!
Please try.
Drop the weapon!
No, I'm good.
Cover me!
Oops. So there is one more episode to release before Pacifist 2.0, where I go through the game and reduce the final result, but this does at least end this episode, so I wish you all the best.